Good afternoon, my name's Penny. So for our gentle expansion series, today I'm going to talk about why I changed my name. So a few months ago, I officially changed my last name from Muller, which I was Penelope Rose Muller, and now my last name is Rose. So I'm Penelope Rose with no middle name anymore. So one thing I have discovered in the spiritual and self-development journeys that we take, that sometimes things happen that we don't see coming. And changing my name was definitely one of those. So I know that a lot of people do this, but it wasn't something that I had ever thought of or really had drawn to my attention. So, and even when I thought about it, I wasn't sure that that was something I wanted to do. It just sort of unfolded and I felt like it was the right thing. And it was one of the things that were quite difficult to come to terms with in a way, but I just felt that it was something that I was meant to do. So this was mostly about feeling like I was my own person, rather than being, I suppose, owned or attached to a family name or a man's name, for instance. In this case, my father's side of the family. Not any kind of rejection of anyone or my history or my ancestry in any way at all, but just a sort of new stage of my life where I felt like it would be amazing to have a name that belonged to me, that was reflective of who I am as a person rather than as a part of a family. And through my spiritual journey, I've discovered that we're not just a part of our physical family on this earth. And I mean, even on this earth, we have our father's family and our mother's family. It's not just one family, however, it is traditional in this culture to take our father's name and not our mother's. But spiritually, from a broader perspective, we are part of other families, our soul families, our galactic families, and so forth, depending on our origins of the soul and who we are in this incarnation. So it's quite complex. However, I have chosen my name, as we all do, for our life on earth, and I've always felt very connected to my name. My name being Penelope or Penny. My parents liked both names. My mum was a bit of a Lost in Space fan when she was young, and there was Penny, was one of the characters in Lost in Space. And Penelope as a name is from Homer's Odyssey, and I've always been aware of the story of Penelope. And Penelope was a woman married to Odysseus, who is the central character in the Odyssey. And Penelope was a weaver of tapestries, and so the name Penelope means weaver. And Odysseus was away for many years, fighting in wars and travelling and doing all these adventures, and it was thought that he had died on his adventures. However, Penelope believed he was coming back and he hadn't died. So Penelope was a very beautiful woman, and she had many, many men who were trying to court her during that time. And she said, no, my husband's coming back. However, perhaps once I have finished this tapestry, I will choose one of you, because perhaps he won't come back, because he's been away for so long. But she really didn't think that he was dead. She knew. So, but she said this to them, and then every night she would pull out her tapestry and start again. So she never would be able to finish that tapestry and choose one of the men for her partner. So Penelope was known as a faithful wife, somebody who believed in love and believed her husband was coming back. So that's the way I look at my name, and something that is very fitting for me because I'm a person who is very loyal, and if I love somebody, then that's not something that can easily change. So I have loved that name, and I'm happy with my middle name, Rose. So Rose is, well, Penelope is a type of rose. We have it in the garden at home. It's an old-fashioned type of rose, so fitting for me. I'm a bit of an old-fashioned girl at heart, and I was happy with that name, and I wasn't unhappy with my last name, Muller. It's a German name, or it was anglicised during World War II, so that's why it sounds more English now than it would have. It would have sounded like Müller, but now it is Muller. However, the name Rose as a last name is a bit more feminine. It looks nice with Penelope, Penelope Rose. And Penny Rose, okay, I haven't quite gotten used to that yet. I haven't got used to my new name at all. It's quite strange to have a different name and to have to say that out loud to people. So the process of changing it was quite easy, other than having to run around and go to the Department of Transport and the banks and things like that. So that took a little bit of legwork, but it was doable. However, being used to actually saying the name out loud is the most challenging thing, more difficult than I thought. And I think this is just because when you've had the same name for so many years, it's just so natural to say it, and it feels strange to have a different name. However, it occurred to me that if I had been married, then I would have changed my name, and that would have just been normal. And a lot of people have that experience too. So the first thing that everybody asked me was, what do your parents think? Which I thought was funny, because the whole point of having a new name was to feel that it was my name, that I didn't have to run my life past somebody else. And people were mostly concerned that my father would be offended about me changing my last name. And well, as well, I thought, well, if I had been married, it wouldn't have been an issue. And my sister changed her name when she was married, and that was 18 years ago now, and my father was okay with that. That was just a natural process. And I kept this to myself for quite some time. I just didn't feel like it was time to talk about it to my parents. And when I did, my dad just said, I told you to do that years ago. And I thought that was very funny, and I've told people that. So he did say years ago that Penelope Rose would make a good stage name. And he hadn't said officially to change my name, but I said, not being a professional performer, it's a bit pretentious to have a stage name, and that's still how I feel. So I just laughed about that, and that's what I said to him. But he wasn't offended in the slightest bit. My father isn't like that at all. He has enough identity of his own without feeling that he has to control his children in any way. So I've been very fortunate in that way. And yeah, my mum was, of course, fine. She just was a bit surprised because she didn't expect it, and neither did I. So it was a surprise even to me. But I like the way it looks, and it's also about stepping into maybe a new version of myself, a bit more expanded version, which is why I've included it here in the gentle expansion, because Penny is a cute name, and in a way I think Penny is sort of a name for a little girl, and Penelope is a name for a queen. And after saying that, I realised that Penelope in the Odyssey she was a queen. So Penelope is a queen's name, so it's an expanded version. It's something to aspire to be comfortable with stepping into that expanded version of myself that is, yeah, a little bit more, I'm not sure what word to use, but anyway, it's a little bit more intimidating than just being little Penny, that cute little girl that I was. So I am happy with my new name. I'm very excited to have that. I went to the mainland the other day to have my passport processed with my new name. So I have been for quite some months now officially Penelope Rose. And I'm looking forward to being Penelope Rose forever. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'll see you next time.